down, chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. I just appreciate everybody watching. Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive. Sir. Yes. Dakota, why you wait till I start the show to acting all needy, man? What's going on with y'all, man? Welcome back.
It's good,
to another episode of the Trap or Die podcast, provided to you by 214 Media. I'm your host, Mual, man, here with Hefe, and I don't even know why I'm not about that. That's the last time I ever call you Hefe, bro.
I was about to say, bro.
that just blew me.
You know
that
you really gonna call. You don't have to call me that.
Yeah, bro. I'm not calling you that ever again, bro. But that's the first. That's the very last time I'm in here with let me get it right, Montel. Dre in here. Fellas, how y'all doing today, man?
Shit, man. I'm still trying to process how the hell I should feel, honestly. Like, you know what I'm saying? That Sunday game, man. I didn't get a chance to hop on the post game with you all on Sunday, but like when you win, you know how to feel. You feel happy, you're excited, you won a game. When you lose, you feel like shit, you're mad. But when you tie, how do you feel? I mean, we've been through this before. I mean, with the Cincinnati game a few years ago. And
within 6 years.
Yes, and I still remember the game about 25 years ago in 97 when they tied with the Giants when Gus Frerotte did the damn headbutt. So, I mean, it's just, it's rare, but you just don't know how to feel. So I'm still processing it.
Why do you remember that game?
Hey, I remember Gus Frerotte banging his damn head into that wall and hurting his neck and cost us the damn game. And that's why we ended up tying with the Giants. That's why I remember. And you remember a tie because ties don't happen often. You can always remember a tie.
Yeah, and that was the Giants last time. Meanwhile, we didn't did it a couple times since then. Oh my goodness, fellas! Before we get started even further, so you know I got to get y'all thoughts on the game. Montel and Dre was not here with AJ and myself on Sunday. But you know, I gotta check in with y'all, man. I brought something special out for the show today, dog.
Hey, my mother freaking man. Hey,
I brought something special out for the show today.
I was finna say, I said, hey, I know my boys, they going to Atlanta this week. I said, man, I got the makers. I got the makers right here. I said, should I just go ahead and get the Henny?
Talking about, bro. Nah, you good with the makers, man. Hey, but we celebrate something on Trap or Dive, man. Hawk know it, man. 1K, finally hit the 1K marker, dog. So you know what I'm saying? We got this thing. I'm about to take the first shot of the day. I'm gonna be okay. This ain't ought to be another a replay of the draft night, Dre. So we good. You know, I ain't got that much in this bottle.
And I'm about to say you would be drinking on the night I'm not drinking.
Nice and chill. Oh my goodness, I love it. Shout out to that Remy. Shout out to that Remy. Let me go ahead and get the good man AJ in this thing too. All right, boom. So schedule wise too, I know I had some people last show. You got something going on. Hold on.
I got a little something
is that
for you, baby.
okay? Here we go.
What was that? A sip of Tito's?
Stop it. I ain't heard from you in quite some time, man. We've been winning. I don't know what you've been
look
talking
at his name,
about.
Though. Remember AJ, how he talked about Carson before the
Stop
season?
it,
He's
AJ,
begging for Carson. He's begging for Carson now.
Start once.
Hey, man. Need to get some points on the board. Need to get some points on the board, man.
You know what? I'm gonna touch on that today. We gonna have to go ahead and start moving because I'm gonna have to touch on that today.
All right, well, let's go ahead and kick it off, man. Y'all wasn't here Sunday. Whoever, Jay or let's go ahead and get with Dre first. Your thoughts on how things went down that day. I mean, where you stand on this Tuesday on whatever is on your mind with the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game. It was another game they should have won. I mean, they also could have lost this game as well. Giants got to be kicking themselves as well. They had opportunities, but you know, in this game, the offense was just it's been a glaring weakness the last couple of weeks when you're noticing how good the defense is playing, and you're still struggling and playing in dogfights because the offense can't really put up enough points, or they're not doing enough to I guess keep a lead or sustain a lead in these situations, like you're playing these scary games. And with the Giants, like I said, it's going to be a tough game every time you play, and we knew it was going to be a dogfight. But again, it's just you're getting frustrated because you do feel like this team's a little bit better than you probably may have thought they were going into the season. And the momentum that they have right now, you feel like they can really start taking a step. In that Giants game, that was a real opportunity to take at least push the Giants back to last place, and you take third place in the division. But you just couldn't capitalize, and we kind of looking back at that offense, and that's why you see AJ's name start Wentz, even though I'm not sure I'm there yet. I mean, I get it. That's a good conversation to have at this point. But, Ron Rivera pretty much said that's not where they're going. So, that is what it is. But defensively, we kind of knew the Giants was going to be similar to the Falcons in the sense of the running offense. That's the strength. And the Falcons is one of the better running teams in the league. Giants are too. And they kind of gashed us on the ground, but it was more so Daniel Jones, I thought. I mean, Saquon Barkley had a couple of nice runs, but Daniel Jones always kills them with his legs. And, so that was a problem. And it's something that they're absolutely going to have to be working with over this bye week, because obviously you're facing the Giants again. So you want to be prepared for that. But overall, just disappointing in the tie. As I said earlier, it's just something, you never imagine going into a game that you're going to walk away with a tie this week. And it's just really frustrating. They really couldn't capitalize and take advantage of the opportunity.
I'll say this. At the start of the game, that was not the result that I was hoping for. But by the time overtime came, I felt relieved to get out of there with a tie.
That is the exact word that I used on Hog Saving Podcast. I said, bruh, we didn't about lost that game about 3-4 different times.
We did.
Yeah.
I take the tie.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I said, God damn, it feels nothing like that Cincy tie. The Cincy tie was like, yo, how the hell y'all tie? This time it was like, thank God we ended in a tie. One of the primary reasons, though, one of the primary reasons to be frustrated, at least me, and I've gotten on this person for damn near all season, Scott Turner. And I got to give him his credit because he adjusted on this stretch, which we've been winning. He hasn't done anything fantastic, but I thought that he kind of got undisciplined this weekend and got away. And rewatching the game, I don't watch film to the extent that you do, Mual, but just rewatching the game, I see what he was trying to do. He was trying to kind of catch the Giants off guard. He wanted to take advantage of that bad secondary, but I just feel like he got undisciplined a little bit. And a lot of people are critical of Heineke, and a lot of people try to excuse Scott Turner for a lot of things. But if you're critical of Heineke, you got to be critical of his coordinator dropping him back 41 times, especially with the O-line getting their ass kicked. That's one of the things I looked at. Again, I see what he was trying to do. I've given him credit throughout this run, but you can't drop Heineke back 41 times, man. I don't see enough play action. I don't see enough roll in that pocket. Again, the O-line is injured, beat up. So that's kind of what I was frustrated with about the game. It's like, yeah, we came out with 20. I didn't like that outcome, but I just thought we got out of character. We got away from who we are and what was working. Brian Robinson had 96 yards on 21 carries. You got to keep running. Keep running the damn ball.
I mean, you had to drop back Taylor Heineke because you were becoming too one-dimensional. Like, you were just running the ball and they were just keying in on that. You had to open up some in the passing game, and that's why my name on here says start Wentz. Like, if you're gonna run the system, put Wentz in and let him run the system, and that's what it should have been from the jump. Like the same way that the Colts used Carson Wentz last year to keep his numbers low. He didn't have the highest number of passing touchdowns, but he finished the year with 7 interceptions. I think in the 5 or 6 starts that he has here already, he probably had like 5 interceptions, 5 or 6. I don't really remember the numbers. Mual probably has the Carson Wentz statistics, but they're having major issues with being able to play a balanced game because Taylor Heineke can't throw the ball. And as much as people want to say that
I disagree with that.
Elusive, you disagree that he can throw the ball?
No, I'm not saying that he's the answer by any means, but he's made some tough clutch throws, and like I said, I think that we kind of got out of character and was trying to drop him back.
He should have never even had to make those throws if he was just making the basic ones.
Hey, I agree. The execution has to be better. The execution has to be better, but I also think you can't get away from who you are. Taylor Heineke dropping back 41 times is unacceptable, bro.
So there's two.
How you slice it.
I think there's two things then. Because I get what AJ's saying, I get what Montel is saying, but I think the way the game flow went, you gotta remember at some point they were down. They were first off, they were facing a lot of second and third and longs, and that was within the course of the game with the game being real. So like that impacts the fact that you got to throw it more than you like to run it. And on top of that, like without the agree, and then without overtime, you're not seeing that many passes. You'll see some handoffs, things like that. So I think like if you kind of level things out in terms of like the flow of the game and even up until like the last drive where I have to pull the numbers up, but like the last two drives maybe, you had a balanced attack. Even into the fourth quarter, it was pretty balanced. I just think things got away at the end is where you saw like the 41 pass attempts. So I get what Montel is saying, but then I get what AJ is saying in that you running the ball is important, but they were in a position where they had to pass it.
It's working. But not necessarily. I thought there were opportunities where you could have ran, especially up 10-0. And granted, the flag, and that's another thing I wanted to touch on. And I'm not this guy. I emphasize. I've seen it twice this year, though. Goddamn Dallas and this game. Them flags, man. These refs got to chill because some of them are so egregious, and it just looks like what the hell is going on. And I'm a person who think the flags even out. There are bad calls on both sides, but this game, some of them flags, I was like, yo, that the Terry McLaurin flag in particular, because it's like, okay, don't throw it and then pick it up because it was clearly PI. And then the Leno face mask that was a no call. It's like that wasn't the determining factor of the game. But if any of these flags go our way, same thing with Dallas at the beginning of the year, the 2 interceptions, like, and then the PI by Brown on our receiver. I can't remember who it was at the time. I want to say it was Dotson or Samuel, but like when we're not getting any calls, like especially the big chunk calls, when we're not getting those, and then the other team is getting those. Slayton pushed off on Holmes. Like, when we're not getting those calls, it's like, come on, bro, what's going on today for real? At least that's what it feels like from a fan's perspective. I can get it 1 or 2 flags, and again, that's not the reason we lost. I mean, that's not the reason it was a tie. I say lost, but it's not the reason it was a tie. But like, I think if you don't want to acknowledge those as a fan, like, and I'm not that guy, I'm not a flag guy. God damn, we get 1 break. Like, can we get 1 today?
We did.
Hey man, you got the biggest break of the game.
We got several. Like, yeah, the FL. First off, we got 2 on 1 play, bro. The FL by the jump where he was offsides, and then Jamin Davis. Somebody said that if they called delay a game on Jamin Davis, the game was rigged. I'm like, Brad, did you not see the dude got the catch, got up? Jamin Davis said, "Oh, we're about to snap it. Let me pull the ball away from this dude." He's trying to literally rip the ball out of that man's hand. Like, that is a clear delay of game, and he didn't call it. So that was only one example, Montel, that I put out there. Another one was the fact that they called the taunting before the game. I mean, before end of regulation. Like, they called taunting on that offensive lineman where we were already down 7, and then they got into our territory off of a 12-yard pass to Darius Slayton. And it was like the last drive for the New York Giants. If they're at the 35-yard line, if that flag is not called of Washington, that puts them up 10 points. And the game is over.
Shit, I felt like they owed us them calls. They owed us that shit, man. Because I felt like for a long time in the game, man, like they was just like focusing on Washington.
And that's where I'm getting at, Montel. Like, literally what he just said. The flags even out. So when he's saying, when Montel said, "Can we get a break?" I'm like, nigga, we did. We got a couple breaks.
I believe it. I was too drunk to even really know.
You definitely got a couple, especially off that game-winning field goal attempt, because Abada was definitely offside.
I peeped that though.
When they were trying to spike the ball, he was offside. So it's like it's hard to bring that into play. But I mean, I just feel like there were so many plays available for Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahad Dotson, and Logan Thomas that Taylor Heineke didn't take advantage of. So many times people want to focus on, the fact that Taylor Heineke isn't out here throwing a bunch of interceptions, but he really is. Just that, opposing defense just sucks at catching the ball. And on top of that, he's getting these strip sacks. Like, I don't think I've watched a quarterback get strip sacked so much in my life. Like, like we talk about Wentz not necessarily having the best pocket presence but I'm not really sure Heineke is that great. Like he's not really eluding people in the pocket or stepping up.
Like, how many times do you think Wentz would have been sacked on Sunday? Because Heineke got sacked 5 times. I think Wentz probably would have got sacked 11.
I actually don't think Wentz would have got sacked that many times. I think that his experience, he would have been able to identify at the line of scrimmage, like just in-game, just pre-game preparation. You know that when Martindale is sending blitzes, like you know that they're going to send more men than you have to block. So you have to be able to key in on your hot reads. I think Wentz gets the ball out quicker. I think that he makes the proper.
Not against Cowboys, he did for the Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles, Lions.
But he was in shotgun primarily most of the time. Like if he's under the center, he can easily identify that, and he's taking 3-step dropbacks. Instead, when he was playing, he was taking 7, 10-step dropbacks. Like he's getting all this fucking movement and not climbing up in the pocket. So I just think it's two different things to compare that. But I feel like Wentz would have made more plays in the short game passing wise, and it probably would have slowed down the amount of 0-man blitzes that the Giants are sending. Because I mean, next week when they play, it's coming again as Taylor Heineke is starting.
Hey Jay, I wanna make this point because I've been making this point to Jamal all week too. Part of the reason that I don't want to see Wentz is not because it's Wentz. It's because I believe Scott Turner is going to go back to trying to chuck that bitch 7-step drops, and I just think he'll be undisciplined in his play calling. You'll see more games where we're throwing it 40 times. He's going to be trying to launch it all over the field because of the quarterback skill set. I don't think that Turner is going to remain disciplined and running. This team has an identity. I know people. I told y'all in the preseason, man, run the damn ball. I don't care if we run that bitch 50 times. Man, run the ball, man. I think we gotta run the rock, and people say we're predictable, man. Sometimes they can know we run it, and we still can run. That's how good this team has been running the ball. I just think that you got to stick to your identity and make the game ugly and make it muddy. I thought we could. There were opportunities we could have ran on Sunday and stuck to the run and still got yards. And I point to specifically in overtime where, we were playing conservative already. It was like it was 3rd and long, and we were like 4 yards away from field goal range. We ran a screen. You might as well run the damn ball and get 2 or 3 and see if you can kick a field goal from there. I'm just saying,
knowing that you're gonna probably go for it again, like get some yards. Don't
get
0.
I mean?
Get some yards.
That's where I'm at with it.
Right.
Just stick to your identity, and that's just me.
Montel, to your point about Scott Turner, being kind of harnessed with Heineke at quarterback, I think this is where Ron Rivera would come into play. Now, I mean, hypothetically speaking, if you were to go to Wentz, Ron Rivera, I think he did this last year when they were on their 4-game winning streak. I think he had a talk with Scott Turner to say, hey, we have to run the ball more, because earlier in that season, I think they started 2-6 last year. They were dropping Heineke back lots of plays. Like Heineke was dropping back, and Scott Turner wanted to run this, really heavy pass offense with Heineke, and it wasn't working. They were losing games. So when they started winning games, they were doing more of a run heavy approach. And I felt like Ron kind of harnessed Scott in and said, hey, this needs to be the identity of the team. And I think hypothetically speaking, if you're going to go back to Wentz, that's what Ron has to do. Ron may not be the offensive coordinator. He may not be the defensive coordinator of this team, but Ron is the leader of this team. And Ron, he can tell Scott, this is how I want my offense run. This is the identity. This is how we are best successful at, and this is what you should do. So, Scott would just have to fall in line with that if they go back to Wentz. I mean, that's just one way to look at it. We'll see, though.
So here's my thing. Hey, Dre asked how many times Wentz got sacked in this game. And I think this is a good point, because I'm gonna swing it back to Taylor. If Taylor got sacked 5 times, and people put this argument out there all the time that he is the mobility guy. He is the guy who's mobile. You got to keep him in there. Wentz is a statue. Like, if those are everybody's arguments, and Taylor Heineke got sacked 5 times, Wentz probably would have got sacked probably 7 or 8 times, just off the theory alone. But my thing is, I hate that argument altogether. Like, I don't even like dealing with that theory, and here's the reason why. You have the New York Giants right here, right? And they ran a lot of 4-man pressures. They ran some cover 1 pressures. They ran some creepers, which, for those who don't know what the creepers are when you replace your fourth rusher that's on the defensive line with the second level player. So you have a linebacker replacing the fourth rusher, and that fourth rusher drops back in coverage. And they disguise it that way, and that's what Wink Martindale did to have those free rushers for the New York Giants. So they disguised pressures in several ways, and it wasn't just 6 or 7 man pressure. Sometimes it was, 6 or 7 man blitzes. Sometimes it was just 4. They just disguised it well. My point, if Taylor Heinicke got sacked 5 times against this defense, that mobility factor doesn't mean anything. He's not using his legs to an extent where he can escape the pocket and get yards downfield. He hasn't done that all season for the most part. His mobility exists when he's extending a play. When he's extending a play to throw the ball downfield, that is where his mobility is a factor, and you got to give him credit for that. However, if the main argument has always been about the fact that he is a mobile player and Wentz is a statue in the pocket, none of that really matters if he got sacked 5 times. You have the Giants coming up in the following week. Then you got Myles Garrett. I don't know what their pressure system looks like. I haven't looked yet. I don't know anything about the Browns. But Myles Garrett is an elite player. I'll leave it at that. But then right after that, you got the San Francisco 49ers. But we know enough about them. So that's where I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, AJ. Like you're talking about the San Francisco 49ers, and I heard I'm not gonna say his name, but I think we know him if we listen to him often. But I heard somebody say
nigga's name. Say that nigga's name.
I heard Mr. Sheehan. It's like but I heard him talking about just simply off the strength that you got to keep Taylor in because of his mobility. And I'm like, you just saw him get sacked 5 times against the New York Giants, and you want to keep him in. Like your main argument is you have to keep him in against the San Francisco 49ers because he's mobile. That's not the case. That San Francisco pass rush is lethal. It doesn't matter who's back there when you have an offensive line that bad in pass pro. And that's where I'm getting at. Like your pass pro is not good enough to withstand a majority of the good pass rushers in the NFL. So it doesn't matter if your quarterback is mobile or not. There's times Michael Vick got sacked like 5-6 times in the game. One of the best scramblers, one of the best runners, instinctive runners in the NFL. Like this offensive line is not good. Taylor Heinicke is not Vick. Like all of that stuff is important. So I just think when you think about your arguments for your quarterback, if you want Carson Wentz or if you want Taylor Heinicke, mobility is important at times, but mobility is not the end-all be-all when you're talking about an offensive line that's not that good, and you're talking about a quarterback who doesn't really use his legs or his athleticism to the extent in which you want him to. Like he's a pocket quarterback. Like that's who he has been. He's just really good with the scramble ability. He's never been like a design person.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I think his mobility is hyped because he's white. Like,
hey, 2 things. AJ, I want to make sure you're still good. You ain't going nowhere, but check your settings right quick. And go to the audio settings and tell me what your mic says, so we can see if we can separate it.
My mic says echo cancellation is on my AirPods.
Your mic is on your AirPod?
Yeah, everything is on my AirPods.
So take your mic and put it on default speaker or default communication device.
Like internal speaker?
Yeah, try that. Yeah.
Like turn my speaker on internal speaker? Does that sound better?
Turn your speaker's fine. Like your speaker can stay on your AirPods. Your mic needs to go to your default internal whatever.
You sound a little muffled, just a little bit.
Yeah, they were saying they couldn't hear you, so I wanted to make sure that you know what I'm saying, we got that taken care of right quick.
All right, yeah. So
there we go. Now you good. Now you good.
Yes, goddamn.
Yeah. I don't know. It must be my AirPods, but yeah, I think it's because at the end of the day, he's a Caucasian quarterback and he looks like he's moving out there, but he's not Michael Vick. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Justin Fields by any means. And those type of guys, when they're facing certain defenses, Wink Martindale system is exactly what gets mobile quarterbacks sacked, because typically those guys aren't looking to hit a target as soon as they snap the ball. Like they're trying to get more depth in their drops and read the field. And that's where I just feel like with Wentz, there's more opportunities to make plays and putting the ball in your playmaker hands. I'm not necessarily saying you got to throw the ball deep, but when you got a Terry McLaurin, when you got a Curtis Samuel, you have a Jahad Dotson, you want to be able to just give those guys crossing routes or comebacks and let them create. Like when they gave them the opportunities in the New York game, they created. Terry McLaurin scored a touchdown off of maybe a 10-yard pass. Jahad Dotson, he catches that. He gets some rack, spin move, touchdown. Everything doesn't necessarily need to be a deep ball shot. It's just putting the ball in your playmakers' hands and giving them the opportunity to even make something happen. And I'm just not seeing that out of Taylor Heineke.
Okay, so
somebody said me and my jersey match.
Y'all Chris, man. Where was I at? Hawkeye brought up something else as well. Where is it at? Sound like a broken. Yeah, right here. Not to sound like a broken record, but the tie ensured that we can no longer afford to lose the remaining games that Washington has. And I have the playoff picture up here with us. And right now, Washington, where we at? Make playoffs. Washington has a 66% chance to make the playoffs. The Giants have a 64% chance to make the playoffs. But at 7, I think at 7, so the Giants have the Eagles up next, right? Obviously Washington has the bye week, and Seattle has the Niners, I believe. Let me double check that.
You said Seattle? Seattle plays Carolina this week.
Oh, Carolina, then the Niners. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, at the end of the day, what Hawk said, I mean, that's the obvious, but we got to figure out how these last 4 games is going to play out. I think that Washington is in a situation where Giants, I honestly think that people are going to think like that home game is going to mean automatic dub for these guys. But the Giants have been playing competitive all season long. And when you think about what their odds are in these last 4, I don't see 4-0. I don't know where that I can see 3-1, but I don't know where that one loss is going to come from. I take that back. I genuinely, I don't know how I forgot that. I can see the one loss coming from San Francisco. That's gonna be the toughest game on their schedule, despite who was at their quarterback position. I don't even know if people watch college ball the way they talk about Brock Purdy. Sure, he was Mr. Irrelevant from the draft, but if you saw Brock Purdy play for 3 seasons at Iowa State, he was never a bad quarterback. Like, Dre, you gamble, so I'm sure you have some familiarity with Brock Purdy. But these guys had, it's, of course, 7th round pick, you have some flaws. You're not great. Same thing with Sam Howell, right? You have some flaws. 5th round pick. But that team is so stacked that whatever quarterback that's in their system is where the problem lies. Like, their roster is too talented. All you have to do is play smart game managing football. And to Hawk's point, we can't lose. And I think the Niners is the game where you look at them in 2 or in 3 weeks and say, yeah, we met our match. Like, that's a Super Bowl team despite Jimmy Garoppolo going out. Well, now that they lost him, I don't know about that anymore, but they were a Super Bowl team. And I still think they can win a game in the playoffs with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, when you look at the 49ers team, I mean, the 49ers are essentially us on steroids. I mean, but the quarterback position is their weakness, but they're just so much better at the rest of the skill positions and their defense. I mean, they've been to the Super Bowl twice in the last 3 or so years for a reason. Those guys, like I said, they're well coached. Kyle Shanahan has a really good staff over there. I mean, he's already gotten guys head coaching jobs. So, the 49ers are the team that, I am the most worried about. Them and the Cowboys, of course. And the Cowboys, when you think about it too, I mean, they play a similar style of football as us. I mean, well, But again, they're much better at doing it than us. But they win on defense. Their strength is the running game. So those are actually things that have been kind of our kryptonite, as you've seen the Falcons and the Giants, teams that run the football and play solid defense. They give us problems. They give us hell. And those teams are better than the Giants. So those are going to be games to worry about. And as you said, Maul, this Giants game can be a cakewalk. I mean, anybody that watched the game on Sunday should know that just because we're playing at home doesn't mean, we're automatically just going to come out and dominate the Giants this week, But, I mean, I do still feel like, they should be favored in this game, Vegas line, obviously being at home. But they have to come out. This is what I want to see from Ron and the staff. This is important. This tells me how well you have your team prepared. Now, you have a bye week. This is a very late bye week. This is one of the latest bye weeks we've ever had. You're getting a couple of guys coming back from injury. You're getting a couple of guys back healthy. How well prepared are you going to be coming out of this bye? It's important. You drop this game as an indictment on Ron and his staff because you have 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent that you just played. Actually,
that you struggled against.
3 weeks. Yes,
you struggled against it in pass pro. That man Daniel Jones killed you. It was Daniel Jones. It was the Daniel Jones and Saquon show. Darius Slayton made an appearance, but it was the Daniel Jones and Saquon show.
And that's the thing. Giants don't have weapons outside of those two. I mean, their wide receiver core is pretty limited. So you don't really those guys don't really scare you as much. But like you said, you have Daniel Jones and you have Saquon Barkley, and now you've been preparing for this team for 3 straight weeks. You playing them 2 games in a row, but you're preparing 3 straight weeks. The Giants don't have that luxury of preparing for us for 3 straight weeks. But I mean, they'll still be preparing for us. But we have an advantage there. So if you come out and you lay an egg, that's not good. And honestly, if you lay an egg in that game, the wheels might come off for the rest of the season. So this is a really important game coming out of the bye week. So
I want you to dive into that wheels fall off part though. Like,
hold on. Let me ask a question real quick. But how do you get over what just happened last week? Like, what is playing better defense going to get you that victory, or is it producing more points on the board that's going to get you this victory?
Absolutely. You have to play better offensively. I mean, the defense, we know what they can do. Now, they can do some things better.
Carson Wentz. Start Wentz. I just wanted to hear you say that.
So would it be fair to say, AJ, that we can see you in a Carson Wentz jersey next week?
You will not see me in no damn Commanders jersey.
Yo, you're wild.
Yeah, that shit could have my.
Now I know some. I got a friend that got an Eagles Carson Wentz Jones. I could just drive it, deliver it to him.
I never thought I would see the day when AJ became a Carson Wentz fan. You remember how bad AJ talked about Carson?
I mean, in this offense. So that's how bad I think of the offense. Like, Scott Turner is already not the best play caller, right? But when you're playing a team in this particular moment where this is a must-win game next week, right? Yeah. You have the opportunity, especially going against some of the poorest corners in the NFL. All you have to, and they're running man blitz. All you have to do is get the ball into your playmakers' hands off of crossers, like basic ass concepts, basic ass shit that you need to do. And you can't do that with Taylor Heineke. You need to be able to score points. If they score that touchdown after that turnover in the after Giants' first possession, and they go down and score again, we're talking about a victory here. We're not talking about a tie. Like, you need points. I know Mual, when we did the show Sunday, he was like, I think he mentioned something about he wanted to go back and look at the tape of that one end zone opportunity where Dotson was open. He didn't get the ball there. So, I mean, that's why I'm just wondering, how do you get over the next step to win?
Like I said, offensively, you have to play better. I mean, that's just the key. But I mean, and as you've seen, it's not insurmountable. Like your question, this is not an insurmountable feat for this team to play better, and to do the things that you need to win. Because as you said, there were you are a couple of plays from winning the game on Sunday. So now this is where the coaching and the preparation comes in. Like I said, you have a whole 2 weeks now to prepare for the Giants. You have to get those little details right. You have to get these things right. And that's how you beat this game. I mean, like I said, it's just a couple of details. Offensively, that's where you get better. Defensively, yeah.
Jerry. Yeah. And Montel, I'm about to let you go, but remember, maybe it was like 2 weeks. It was the Atlanta game. Remember the Atlanta game? You gave your score prediction. and I think you said your score prediction was like 27, whatever the actual score was. You had mentioned like 27 or something like that.
Yeah, 27-20, something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm never going to stop saying this, but I said my thing was like, how can you ever predict Washington scoring more than 20 points when they haven't done it? All but like what, a couple
but
times.
They did it against the Eagles. They scored 32 against them.
Yeah, 26. They scored 26,
yes,
and they scored 16 against Houston. And my thing is, I say that to say, you're saying the little things, and I agree with everything that you said. You said the little things, they have to correct them. They have to play better on offense. My issue with it, though, is that it's a little bit incomplete. These guys have not done the little things right all year. Yeah. They have not done anything well on third down. They ranked 28th in the NFL on third down. I saw a stat from John Comm the other day, and I wish I brought it up before I started talking, but Taylor Heineke and in the red zone, they're like seven. I think they're bottom half of the league. I'll just put it that way. That's better because I don't have the numbers in front of me. They're bottom half in the league, but they're top 10 in red zone trips or something like that. They're not putting up points in the red zone either. And I think to your point of saying they have to do the little things well, I agree with you. But to ask them to do that after the bye week, all that is making sure that these players are well rested, because these motherfuckers cannot execute on the field to save their life, and they shown that for the first 13 games of the season. So that's kind of where my issue is. Like, I get it and I understand and I'm with you, but the way they have been playing with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, and just with everything else, whether it's penalties, whether it's lack of execution from the quarterback position, and just not executing when it matters or missing a field goal. These guys can't execute.
Mual, I agree with you 100% on that, but that's my whole point. Like with the bye week, I would just be more impressed if they did come out and start doing some of the little things right, because that would tell me that they did something, whether it was something extra in the film room, the guys started getting, maybe that extra bit of rest, because this is a late bye week. I mean, a lot of teams have already had their bye week. We're one of the last, I think this might be the last bye week in the NFL. So, a lot of teams may have had that chance to come out, a different team, so to speak, maybe a new recharge team. And that's kind of what I'm just hoping for. I'm hoping that the energy is recharged, because I do feel like this game was a little deflating. The Giants, you came in, you were high on momentum. Then you come away with a game. You feel like you could have won the game, but you came out and you tied. So, you might be a little down. Like that could get a team down. But you have a bye. So I'm just hoping that the team comes out recharged, and I hope that they don't come out flat, because we've done this in the past. I mean, not just with Ron Rivera teams, but just Washington teams in general. They've come out of bye weeks flat. And then to me, it was always an indictment on your coaching staff. So that's why I'm just hoping that they come out and they win the game, because to me, that would at least feel like something, happened over the bye week that recharged the team.
Dre, I know you got to go, Dre. So I guess we'll tap in. We'll check in next week, big dog. I know you got to handle the thing with your kids, man. Hopefully, Cuz put up 30 in practice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. All right, fellas, man. It was good, man.
Take it easy,
sir. I'll talk to you.
I want to point to, this is the last time I want to go back to the Heineke Wentz thing, but I want to touch on the offense as a whole, and the reason why. I feel as though running the ball is so important, and why I feel like you can't go to Wentz. I know Kevin Sheehan mentioned his mobility. And even if that's not a portion of it, aside from points with this offense, the most important thing is maintaining a good down and distance and holding on to the ball. So when it comes to Wentz versus Heineke, Wentz is more prone to take sacks, and a lot of things that, and I feel like people are kind of trying to scapegoat Heineke a little bit, not giving him enough credit.
Explain. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not giving him enough credit for this. In the previous weeks prior to this game, two games in a row, he didn't take a sack. And that's important for this offense. And I know it seems like nothing major, but that goes back to those little things, doing little things correctly that you were talking about. That's kind of what Alex Smith did in the 2018 season. Didn't take sacks, didn't turn the ball over. That's important for this team in particular, because we're playing good defense and we're running the ball well. Carson Wentz, he wasn't able to sustain drives, period. So even though we're not getting points in the red zone in the fashion of a touchdown, I know it's not pretty, But football isn't always going to be pretty. And winning like this is sustainable. I know people like to say it's not sustainable. It's not. It is sustainable when you are not taking sacks, not getting holding calls. If we don't get those holding calls in that game this weekend, we put up three extra points. You know what I mean? Even though he didn't convert 7 in the red zone to Logan Thomas on the first drive. So sustaining time of possession, the brand of football we're playing right now is to not lose games, not to beat ourselves. That is a sustainable brand of football. All fans, you can ask the fans prior to us. They always talk about this. That was Joe Gibbs' motto. Let's not lose the game. That's exactly what the Vikings are doing right now, actually. Aside from the games when they've gotten blown out, they've won all the close games. And that's how you win in today's league. It is sustainable. You see it in the playoffs. That's the brand of football people play in the playoffs. Unless you are capable of just blowing a team out, 9 times out of 10, you look at the Bengals versus the Titans last year. The Bengals didn't lose the game. The Titans did. You look at the Bengals versus the Chiefs last year. The Bengals didn't lose the game. The Chiefs did. So that brand of football is sustainable. We just can't have penalties. We can't take stupid sacks. And what Heineke has done up until this point, that's why we're 5-1-1 when he's in the lineup. A lot of people don't want to give him credit for that. I don't think he's the answer long term. I don't. And I'm not saying he's the second coming of anything. But he is not as bad as people try to make him out to be. Not taking sacks in this offense, the way we're playing football and running the ball, is very important. Not turning the ball over is very important. And thus far, even though it's not been pretty and he's not putting up a bunch of points, what he's doing is working. Run when you have a chance. He has converted some big third downs. We're not great on third down, but he's made some big third downs. He's brought us back when we were down multiple times, at least 3 times I can count this season. And then it's like, dude, just make the big throws when you can. I don't think he's great. Just keep us in good down and distance. Keep us in 3rd and 4. He may convert, he may not. Punt the ball. Nothing's wrong with punting. We don't got to put up 30. We don't have to put up 30. The way our defense is playing and the way that we hold on to the ball, it limits the amount of possession that the other team is going to get to put up points on us. That's just something I think that people aren't paying attention to because it's not pretty. It's not a glamorous stat, but that's just football. You can win like that.
I mean, yeah, you could win like that, but there's moments, as you've seen, where you're trailing, and now you got to drop back Taylor Heineke 41 times to try to come back into the game and even just tie the score. We ain't even talking about winning. We just talking about tying the score. So I just feel like, of course, like you said that they have come to the point of creating their identity. I don't think that they ever wanted to become this identity of a run first team. That's not why they brought Wentz in. But I guess it's one of my bigger issues. One of my bigger issues is they don't even know who they want to be. Because honestly, if you're going to bring in Carson Wentz, the focus should have been running the ball from the jump, no matter if it was Brian Robinson back there, Jonathan Williams, McKissick, Gibson. The focus should have always been running the ball and playing off of the run, getting into the play action game a little bit more, the bootlegs, the RPOs when necessary in the red zone when you have Wentz, who's not that athletic as he used to be. And now you also are running a different scheme with Taylor Heineke, who also is not giving the ball up on these RPOs. He's not posing any threat to anything in those calls. And you're dropping him back and you're putting him in situations where he doesn't even read the field well. And he also doesn't slide protection correctly. Like some of those things that we look at immediately, some people might be like, oh, that's on Leno. That's on Lucas. But in actuality, it's also up to the quarterback to help them identify who's blitzing and who's not, who's coming, who's not. And I just feel like the only way for them to take the next step as a team that wants to make this playoff push is to get better play from their quarterback position as far as making the basic throws. Like, it's too many times that we see misses. It's cool. Quarterbacks miss. You know, like just look at Deshaun Watson, even though he's been off for some years, but the way that he's paid, you don't expect him to make those type of turnovers that he did. But with Taylor Heineke, it's basic stuff that you just like, what the fuck was that, bro? Like,
well, here's my I do want to make sure that we at least know though, we can't allow ourselves to misremember how annoying it was with Carson Wentz back there too.
That's what I'm getting
and I think so there's two things that I wanted to get across. The first part was about Carson Wentz and his play. He was missing easy things as well. He was missing several things that was easy. And AJ, to help or to give a pro on Carson Wentz, I've said this maybe on the post game, and obviously I've said this like over the last couple of weeks as well. Who knows? We don't know, but who knows like to what extent he's been able to pick up the playbook and he's able to, like, from a mental standpoint, understand where the ball is supposed to go in certain situations. We're not capable of knowing that without him being on the field. The coaches know, and he knows based on the time that he spent in that locker room, in that film room, while he's been hurt. They know that. We don't know. But what we do know is what it looked like in his 6 games. And it wasn't pretty at all in terms of what he was able to see on the field and some of the things that he missed. Some of the checkdowns that he missed, and some of the crossers and shallow crosses that he missed. That stuff was there. And then obviously we're talking about throws and reads down the field. We're not even talking about the sacks part and the pocket field. And that's the first thing. The second thing is I think we need to take into account the offensive line again. Like, we can't keep overlooking that in this conversation. Tyler Larson got hurt. Yeah, and I loved how Tyler Larson played because he stabilized that middle of that interior offensive line for a good portion of Taylor Heineke's run. Tyler Larson was in there against Chicago, and that was the game that Carson Wentz got hurt. So he wasn't able to experience a solid center for X amount of weeks up until Tyler Larson got hurt. So I think all of that stuff is important. And now you're going back to Nick Martin. And it may get worse. Like I talked about that defensive line against San Francisco and that pass rush, it may get worse. And that's off the strength of Tyler Larson not being there no more. You better hope that Wes Schweitzer is available and that he can play center and you can plug Sam Cosmi in at right guard still. Because or Sadiq Charles at right guard. Something. Because Nick, it was very bad under Nick Martin or whatever the Martins are. It was 2 Martins on our team.
I want to say it's Nick Martin.
All right, so you get my point. Like the bad center, his last name was Martin. You need to stay, and you got to understand that the centers have changed now too. So I think that is a problem for whoever's at quarterback back there because it was not good with them. And now that you're going up against the Giants again, Dexter Lawrence, he wreaked havoc. Leonard Williams, he wreaked havoc on Andrew Norwell a couple of times. And now you got Joey Bosa and those guys right after the New York Giants. And it's going to be hard to be able to, from an offensive line standpoint, just to be able to really, knowing that your offensive line is inferior to those 2 defensive lines, it's going to be hard to really withstand that, despite who's at quarterback. But I do understand the side of Carson Wentz. I personally think that Taylor, because I just don't, I said this on my morning show, I just don't trust that Carson has been able to close the competitive gap. And that's kind of what's closing, or that's what's hesitating or making me say that Taylor Heineke needs to continue starting. And for the reasons that I mentioned, like those 6 games showed me that how far he was behind, and the 7 games that Taylor played showed me how ahead he was of Carson. And I don't think that Carson has been able to close the gap over the last 7 weeks. I would bet against that.
Well, then we have a major issue with this coaching staff, because if Carson Wentz can't hand off the motherfucking ball and play off of play action, there's no way in hell that you should be trading for a guy like that and taking up $28 million of your salary cap space, and on top of that, trading high draft assets. Like, it's a lot of players in our league that are 2nd, 3rd round picks that are elite players. Like, if Carson can't do that, bro, yeah, man, like, because really what Taylor's doing is nothing. It's nothing phenomenal. Like, they're not asking him to do much in the passing game. So it's like, a lot of people are rocking with it because of the playoff game, and people want to buy into this hype. But I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, Montel, there's no answer at quarterback on this roster.
I think it's the ultimate frustrating thing, y'all. It's no answer.
I'm so tired of talking about it, bro, because it's like, like right now we're talking about basic things that are happening in the passing game. We're talking about things that shouldn't even, like the offensive line. Like so many people raved and thought that this offensive line was good last year when it really wasn't. It's the same exact shit. Like even if you had Brandon Sheriff, you would still be in the same position. I feel like Eric Flowers brings more to the table from an athleticism standpoint, and he would kill in this running game right now because he's a molar. Like he's aggressive with it. Like he has that nasty streak that you want out of your guard. And they substituted that for old and tired, like for old and tired, and Trey Turner and Norwell. And then the even more frustrating thing for me is they refuse to have Chris Paul active any week. Like this is a younger athletic dude. Like you're not like, why is he not active? Why not even give him a chance? So it's just like for me, I'm just thinking about how do you get over this hump, because right now it's been an offensive clutch, or however the hell you want to say, but it's been some time where they've been able to actively put up points. And as you continue to go down these games in December, you're going to need points to coincide with your defense playing at a high level. Like the defense did not play great against the Giants, but I expected that because whenever they play a dual threat quarterback, they always have struggles. They always have issues with their DNs, playing contain and staying on the outside. They always give in too quick. It's almost like in that game against the Giants, Montez Sweat really just wanted sacks. He wanted to pile up his numbers. He was like, fuck it. If he runs, he runs. And then you can't even keep Bostic on the field, in my opinion, because he's not athletic enough to even try to go after Daniel Jones. Like, he can't do nothing for you. So it's just kind of weird overall, because I'm like, stack the box. At the end of the day, can't none of them Giants receivers see anybody. Like, even if Slayton gets open like he did, he gonna drop the ball. So just stack the box. Saquon can't do nothing against all them people in the box. Daniel Jones damn sure ain't gonna be able to run. You got to play a little bit more aggressive, and I think Jack Del Rio is so comfortable at times with that defensive front that he doesn't even think to necessarily send inside blitzes or get creative with the blitzes. He's just like, man, I'm gonna let, like how the media does. I'm gonna just let the first round picks just handle it all. And that's essentially what they've been doing. Like they've been doing their best, but at some point you also have to pivot to something else.
I was literally gonna ask that question. Do we even know what happened to Eric Flowers? Like, do we know?
To be honest with you,
he in Miami chilling.
I'm about to say, yeah, I don't know. My guess is he probably don't fuck with Washington after how they treated him.
But nobody picked him up though.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. But I was actually reading this one. When I said that Hawk had said, why haven't they brought Eric Flowers back? That's beyond him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he isn't with the team. That may be that. Now that's a crazy thing because Eric Flowers performs well in Washington. Him performing well in Washington should get him another job somewhere else at the very minimum. At the very minimum.
I mean, he has a reputation of not being the hardest worker coming from the Giants. So like he really got his resurgence being here in Washington. And then after he did well in Washington, signed a new deal in Miami, and they got rid of him in no time. He got sent right back to Washington. So it's like he just built up a rapport for himself throughout the NFL. Maybe. And unfortunately for him, he got cut. I think he was making either 8 to 10 million or whatever. And then you got to factor in representation. He represented by Drew Rosenhaus. So that motherfucker over there selling more dreams than MLK. And, some of his guys believe that they're supposed to get more than what they really should be getting. I mean, we've seen it happen with Washington multiple times in regards to that representation. It happened to Junior Gillette. Like, I remember Junior hitting me up personally asking for my advice on something. And I told him, hey, this is what I'm hearing you're supposed to be getting from the team, and this is what they're going to offer you, blah, blah, blah. Like, you should try to stick around that. He was like, man, Drew telling me that I can get much more. That nigga never played again in the NFL.
Nah, that is wicked, bro. And I didn't even know that you talked to Junior because AJ at this point because AJ be on Twitter, so AJ knows like how active Junior was. Like he probably still is. I don't follow him,
I
but
mean,
I be seeing him.
I got him muted on my shit because
All right,
because he went crazy because he definitely had demand, like, and I was trying to represent him, but powers that be, like, it's so much politics with this shit.
Hawk
He
is
ended
hilarious,
up signing with Drew after he'd been represented by a black agent before. And Drew sold him this dream that he was gonna get 8 to 10 million a year, and I told him that he was gonna be around 5 to 6, and he was like, "Nah, man, I'm supposed to get higher." And now in the past years, since he didn't re-sign that deal with the Washington Redskins at the time, he's been suing the NFL for blackballing him and collusion and showing a whole bunch of texts and
Sean
depositions.
McVay,
yeah.
Yes.
So that's my whole point. Is like sometimes you got to understand who's your representation. It's so many guys out here that get bad deals or get bad advice and they just rock with it. And it's happened multiple times to several guys in Washington. Quentin Dunbar could have just played out the rest of his contract and got a new deal the next year. Instead, he made this fuss and start going public like he's motherfucking Jalen Ramsey. And what they do, they got rid of his ass. And a new coaching
regime, bro.
Yeah, and they got rid of his ass, and he never bounced back career-wise in the NFL. Just been bouncing from team to team to team and getting dropped every 2 or 3 weeks.
I don't think he's in the league right now.
I'm going to say he got arrested.
I don't even know what he's going on right now, but those are just prime examples of some cases why you see guys like Eric Flowers who's talented, who should probably be on somebody's roster, but they also have representation that's telling them, nah, don't go to this team. We're not going to be able to re-up with them in the offseason. Don't do this. Or when you do get released, hey, we still think that you could get what you was getting before with Washington, whatever. We're not even trying to, renegotiate terms with Washington to keep you here and keep some money flowing into your pocket and you on a team. Instead, you just at the crib cooling. Watching the games just like us on Sundays.
At the crib cooling, bro. That's and I'm leaving this up there for the rest of the show, Hawk, by the way, because AJ is more plugged in the surge protector, bro. Like the shit I ain't trying to hear it. Don't try. AJ is more plugged in the surge protector. But I think that's just important insight from a non-Washington standpoint. Just understanding how like deals do, because if you all are on Twitter, on the show, what Junior Gillette has been saying for a long period of time. And like just seeing that he's thinking he's blackballed compared to how AJ is communicating to us. Like it's not, I'm not even putting words, I'm not trying to put words in AJ's mouth, but just communicating to us a different perspective and why you may not be getting the offers that you want. Those things are different, man. But last thing, fellas, I may have lost the comment. What's going on, Al? Too? I appreciate you checking in. As always, my man. I can't find the comment. Damn. Hey, Hawk.
When y'all got a pet monkey?
That's my dog being a fool. So that's time. That's time to say we about to get up out of here. But Hawk, bring this up. bring this up next week so we can talk about this, man. I don't know if you're gonna remember or not, but bring it up next week.
Today, because I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I was this close to buying a ticket today. Just to go support my team, and for the life of me, I could not bring myself to buy it. And I literally, it was like someone was talking to me like, "You better not buy that ticket."
And you know what's crazy, bro? I've been thinking about going to the game next week. I'm like, man, I'd be damned if I sit out in that cold, bro. I've already been sick. Already been sick the last week. My girl done just tested positive for COVID. I'm like, nah, bro. Like that shit ain't even worth it. I just wanted to hear the left hand up. We are the commanders.
They performing. Yes, bro. They got the primetime slot now.
Yeah, damn. I just wanted to hear that, but at the end of the day, I'm like, nah, bro. I'm gonna relax right in the crib,
Yeah.
Be able to use the bathroom freely when I want to.
Yeah.
eat what I want to for
free.
for a reasonable price. Drink what I
Yeah.
want to reasonably priced. Because
Yeah.
even the suites, like Washington is not one of them stadiums where the suites is love. Like that joint like being in the detention center. Like,
Oh my god.
Bro, you're lying.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying it's not the best in comparison to the rest of the league and their suites.
Mhm.
Nah, that shit is not it. Like you in a suite box with a small ass TV, like 13-inch, not high definition. That joint look like you watching a game from 1995.
We got
like nah,
that
bro. That shit is not it. That stadium is not it.
Well, that part is true. Yeah, go buy them tickets for Pops, man. And happy birthday to Pops, bro. They are performing it live. At one point, it was scheduled for the 1 o'clock. They had the next 2 home games, so it was Giants and Cleveland. I think that Cleveland was the home game, right? I think so.
Yeah, Cleveland's home.
Yeah, so it was the Giants and the Cleveland game that they had the home game. Al 2 said, "Go ahead, support the boys, Montel." So you got a dilemma at hand, my brother. If you want to go see them boys,
look, I kind of feel like AJ. I want to be able to drink, piss, and eat freely, literally freely. Man. Like I ain't trying to go and then they get into
commercial
the
time. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Get into the stadium and be such an asshole, man. And Mual, you know me. Once I start drinking, I start using the bathroom. So
hey, AJ. All right, this the last thing. AJ, this the last thing, bro. we was out in Dallas, bro. At the Dallas game, this nigga Montel had dude. We in the Uber in a Tesla, bro. I never been in Tesla before. That motherfucker scoot. That motherfucker scoot, bro. He had this man pull over on the highway.
I had to pee
because he had to go use the bathroom, bro.
He was drinking.
Had to go pee, bro.
Hey, you too grown for that, man.
He too grown for that, and not even, bro. AJ, I'm not even done. Not even like 10 minutes later, we're not even where we're supposed to be in our destination, bro. He told this dude pull over again in front of a club. He's gonna find somewhere to piss.
I'm good.
And pee like 10 minutes later, bro.
You know what it is,
and Montel, you need a catheter.
Nah, bro. So what it is, one, drinking does not agree with my body, but also when I'm drinking water, and I drink a lot of water, bro. So it's like I'm getting ran through. Like I'm not just drinking.
Yeah, well then you need to talk to your doctor and slow down some of your water intake, bro. Because like you can't be peeing every 5-10 minutes. Like who the fuck want to hang out with somebody that just got to use the bathroom?
That's not regular
all the time.
That's not regularly, but if I start drinking, come on, bro. I've been to the doctor, bro.
Man, I used to date a chick that needed to use the bathroom. I swear to God, every 10 minutes. Like I'm like, dog, I'm gonna buy you some Depends because this is ridiculous. Like, why do you keep peeing every 10 minutes? Like, this is not fun hanging out with you. Like, somebody said check his prostate. Hey man, I don't know,
man. Prostate check, man.
Montel got to drive himself everywhere because ain't nowhere in hell about to keep pulling over for somebody to keep peeing outside. Like you just looking to get arrested.
No, I know Montel for what 16, 17 years.
I won't even drink. I won't drink. Like typically in that situation, I wouldn't even drink on the way nowhere because I already know like I'm gonna have to piss on this ride there, bro. Like I'm just not even gonna drink until I get to the destination. But that night, I don't know why. I don't even know why we started drinking. Like we started drinking
because we was turning up in the crib because we wanted to be lit by the time we got to deep.
That's what it was. Then I was like,
that's all it was,
drinking. I don't know.
We ain't out there. We ain't about to carry no bottles out there. So we're gonna turn up in the crib and then make our move to wherever the fuck we had to go. But I mean, it's all good, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm still my road dog. You know what I'm saying? We gonna make moves, man. But listen,
call that boy Montel Peabody.
Hey, it is what it is. I ain't gonna piss on myself. I piss in your back seat before I piss in my pants.
God damn. That's it. It's time, man. Hey, listen. The fellas will be back next week, man. It's our bye week too. Dakota's bye week too. But I'm back tomorrow for the film session tomorrow morning on the Commanders Morning Show. But outside of that, man, y'all take it easy. Enjoy y'all bye week, man. Enjoy these games Sunday, bro. I love that shit, man. But y'all take it easy. Montel, AJ, y'all take it easy too, bro. I'm gonna holler with y'all, man. Y'all be safe.
You going to the A?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
all right, turn up.
I'm going to the A, man. You already know what time it is. And I'm buying that Remy, man. Shout out to Montel. Montel put me on.
Somebody said, hey, man, that might be type 2 diabetes.
I'm healthier than half the motherfuckers watching this show,
Hey,
man.
bro.
I let you know I outrun all y'all. All that. Y'all don't want to see me in the weight room. Y'all don't want to see me on the track.
He said, fuck it. Yeah, hey, let's compete. It's time to compete.
Smoke. I promise you. This is all look, I'm in there, champ. Y'all not like me. Y'all not built like that. Y'all not built like me. So let's get it.
Hey, Montel has spoken. Montel has fucking spoken, man. AJ, Montel, man, y'all take it easy, bro. I'ma holler at y'all boys.
Diabetes.
Y'all take it easy. Diabetes.